All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're going to break down this really powerful three-step process for personal growth. And it's a cycle that every single one of us goes through, whether we realize it or not. It all starts with a simple but pretty profound idea. Every pain gives you a lesson, and every lesson changes a person. Just let that sink in for a second. It sounds super straightforward, right? But what's so cool about it is how this one little sentence actually maps out a complete journey of, transformation. So what are we looking at here? Is this just a nice phrase to keep in your back pocket, or is it something more? Well, we're going to treat it as a blueprint, a really practical guide for turning life's absolute toughest moments into our biggest opportunities for growth. Okay, so let's dig into how this blueprint is actually built. The foundation, right? The very thing that kickstarts this entire process is the catalyst of pain. Now, when you hear the word pain, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Probably something physical, right? A scraped knee, a headache. But the pain we're talking about here is so much broader. And frankly, it's way more common in our day-to-day lives. We're talking about the sting of rejection, the weight of failure, that ache you feel from loss, or the sharp edge of disappointment. It can even be that quiet, nagging voice of self-doubt in the back of your mind. These are things we all go through. They're universal, and yup, they are all forms of pain. And this is the really crucial part. We have to reframe how we see these feelings. Pain is not the destination. It's definitely not some kind of punishment. Think of it like a signal, like that flashing light on your car's dashboard. It's just telling you, hey, pay attention, because there's a valuable lesson waiting just around the corner. Okay, so if pain is the signal, what's next? Well, now we get to the most active part of this whole process, finding the lesson that's hidden inside that pain. This is where we really learn to turn a raw feeling into actual insight. But how do we actually do that? Well, it breaks down into a few steps. Step one is just to acknowledge the feeling. Seriously, don't push the discomfort away. Just sit with it for a minute, no judgment. Then, step two, ask why. Get curious. Investigate the root of it. Why did that comment sting so much? Why did that failure feel so massive? And asking why naturally leads to the final step, finding the insight. What is this whole experience trying to teach you about yourself, about your values, your boundaries, or where you're headed? You can think of it like this. The lesson is the wisdom that's hidden right inside the wound. It's kind of like a pearl. You have to be willing to open up that uncomfortable spot and look closely to find the treasure inside. And once you find that lesson, once you really internalize it, the final part of that quote just kicks in, almost automatically. And that is the change. This is the transformation, the real outcome that makes going through all that other stuff totally worthwhile. And this change isn't just some vague idea, it's tangible. You can actually see the shift inside yourself. Before you learn the lesson, you might be super reactive, just caught in the same old patterns, seeing things from one limited angle. But after you integrate that lesson, you become more responsive. You start creating new, healthier behaviors. Your whole perspective on the world just widens. And let's be super clear about something. This change isn't about becoming a totally new person, like you're erasing who you were before. No way. It's about evolution. It's about becoming a more aware, more conscious, and a more resilient version of the person you already are. Okay, so let's put all these pieces together. We have pain, which leads to a lesson, which creates change. But here's the thing. It's not a straight line that you just walk one time. It's a cycle. Let's just call it what it is, the growth cycle. It's this process where pain provides the lesson that fuels the change, and that creates this powerful, continuous loop. And the cool part is, each time you go through it, you build up more resilience and more self-awareness for the next time life throws something at you. And that right there is really the key takeaway. Life is always going to present challenges, which means it's always going to present opportunities for growth. This isn't some one-and-done task you can check off a list. It's a lifelong practice. So I'll leave you with one final thought, a question for you to take with you. Looking at your own life right now with this whole framework in mind, what is your pain trying to teach you?